Hi, welcome. Today we are going to study half-life period and mean life. Let us start with half-life period. It is denoted by tau or T1 half. It is a more frequently used quantity to characterize the radio elements. So, half-life period is used to characterize the radio elements, and it is defined as the time needed for a given amount of the radio element to decay exactly to half its value. So, what is half-life period? It is the time needed or required for a given amount of the radio element to decay exactly to half its value. Now we know that we have derived this equation in the last lecture, that is ln n upon n0 is equal to minus lambda t, where that n0 it is the number of atoms of the radio element at time 0, while n is the number of atoms of the radio element at time t. Lambda is the constant of proportionality, that is decay constant, while t is the time. Now when we multiply it by 2.303, then here comes log of n upon n0 is equal to minus lambda t. Now if we want to change this negative sign to the plus sign, then we have to change here the position of numerator and denominator. So denominator goes at the numerator and numerator comes to denominator. So we can write 2.303 log of n0 upon n is equal to lambda t. So we have just exchanged the position of n0 and n. So here comes plus sign. So this is equation 1. Now half-life period, it is a t1 half. So when t is equal to t1 half, then n is equal to n0 upon 2. So this is according to the definition of half-life period. So at t is equal to t1 half, n is equal to n0 upon 2. Here n0 it is the number of radioactive elements at time 0. So at time t, which is now t1 half, the value of n will be n0 upon 2. So we have to substitute these values in equation 1. So instead of t, we have to write t1 half, and instead of this n which is at denominator, we have to write n0 upon 2. So we get 2.303 log of n0 upon 2 is equal to lambda into t1 half. Here that n0 and n0 get cancelled, so 2.303 into log of 2 is equal to lambda into t1 half. So this 2 goes to the numerator. Okay, therefore here comes log of 2. Now we know that log of 2 it is 0.3010. So on multiplication it, we get 0.693 is equal to lambda into t1 half. So we can write t1 half is equal to 0.693 divided by lambda, or lambda is equal to 0.693 divided by t1 half. So we know that here the unit of time, it may be in seconds, minutes, hours or years. Okay, and that lambda it has unit of time inverse, that is second inverse, minute inverse, hour inverse or years inverse. Okay, so this is about the expression of half-life period. t1 half is equal to 0.693 upon lambda. Now next term is mean life, which is shown by tau bar. This is tau bar. It represents the average lifetime of the radio element. So what does mean life represents? It represents the average lifetime of the radio element, and it is given by tau bar is equal to 1 upon lambda. So we have to remember this. The tau bar, that is mean life, it is 1 upon lambda, and we know that we have just derived an expression for lambda, that is 0.693 upon t1 half. So we have to substitute it. So on simplification we can write tau bar is equal to t1 half upon 0.693, that is here we have 1 upon 0.693, so it has value 1.443. 1.443 into T1 half. So tau bar is equal to 1.443 into T1 half or 1.443 into tau. Okay, half-life period it is shown by T1 half or tau. So the final value of tau bar is 1.443 into T1 half. So here we have derived two values. First one is the half-life period. T1 half is equal to 0.693 upon lambda, and here tau bar is equal to 1.443 into T1 half. Now note 1. Consider now, see, the half-life periods and hence the decay constants vary over extremely wide limits for different radio elements. For example, the half-life period of that astatine 214 is 10 raised to minus 6 seconds. It is just 10 raised to minus 6 seconds, while the half-life period of thorium 232 is 10 raised to 10 years. So there is a extreme range of the half-life period. Here 10 raised to minus 6 seconds and here it is 10 raised to 10 years. So we have to note that the half-life periods vary over extremely wide limits for different radio elements. So it has a wide range. And note 2, the invariability of the half-life period and hence the decay constants of a given radionuclide over extremely widely varying conditions of temperature, pressure and chemical environment. Now see, though there is a change in temperature, pressure or chemical environment, there is a no change in half-life period and hence in the decay constant. So this is the invariability, that is no change, the invariability of the half-life period and hence the decay constants of a given radionuclide over extremely widely varying conditions of temperature, pressure and chemical environment. So if we change temperature, pressure or chemical environment, the half-life period or the decay constant, there is a no change. For example, the half-life period of radium-226 is 1600 years and that of phosphorus-32 is 14.28 days. No matter in what chemical form they may be, as element or oxide or chloride or any other compound in the solid, liquid or gaseous state. So whatever it may be, there is a no change in their half-life periods. So the invariability of the half-life period, it is also important to note. Okay. Now why this? So this is because radioactivity is a nuclear property. This is the reason why it is unaffected, because radioactivity, it is a nuclear property. It is unaffected by changes in the outer electron arrangement and by temperature and pressures normally attainable. So the answer is radioactivity is a nuclear property, and this is the basis for determining the ages of rocks and minerals by measuring the amount of decay they had undergo since their formation. So why or what is the basis for determining the ages of rocks and minerals? The radioactivity is a nuclear property. This is the basis for determining the ages of rocks and minerals, and as it is a nuclear property, it is unaffected by changes in the outer electron arrangement and by temperature and pressures normally attainable. Okay, so this is about the half-life period, then mean life, and we have seen the 2 points. First one is the half-life periods have extremely wide limit. Second one is the invariability of the half-life period. So in the last, I have added 3 practice questions. Try to solve these questions and if possible write down the answer in the comment box. Thank you.